All right, deep divers, we are preparing for the vegan week ahead. I have to get things planned ahead on Sunday or the rest of my week is absolute and utter chaos. What are we making? All right, I am concocting this kick-ass fruit salad so I can eat that for various breakfasts and snacks and whatever throughout the week. And it's very heavy this week on the grapefruit. Look at all these grapefruit. Because we got a whole bunch of them dumpster diving. Yummy, yummy vitamin C. I'm also going to make my wheat berry salad finally. And for that I have these lovely home dehydrated cranberries. Here are your wheat berries. Normally I would get them from the bulk bins at Whole Foods or the health food store. But I actually got these free at the grocery store because I had overage from couponing for other stuff, and I used the overage to get the wheat berries. What are wheat berries? All right, we're gonna put some wheat berries in the pot, add a bunch of water, put it on the stove, let it boil for about an hour. Or I guess bring it to a boil, and then it doesn't have to be a rolling boil for the whole hour, but it takes about an hour to cook them, to get them soft. That's what wheat berries look like up close. That's whole wheat. It's kind of like cooking steel cut oats, except you know with oatmeal how you get that, I don't want to call it slime, but you know how oatmeal is all mushy, right? And mushes together. The wheat berries don't get all mushy like that. They cook up as little individual wheat berries. They puff up and they have a really cool texture. So we'll get these cooking. And once they're cooked and cooled, we will make a vinaigrette and throw in the dehydrated cranberries. And remember, since you're cooking these for an hour, you want to check them and make sure they don't boil dry, because then they will burn to the bottom of the pot and you will weep and gnash your teeth and it will be sad. Now, I don't know if you remember these from one of our past dumpster diving hauls. It's a little snack container of hummus with pretzels on top. And this is really delicious hummus. And this past week I've been having sandwiches every day with hummus and avocado and veggies and kimchi on pita bread. And it's been fabulous. Well, I'm out of pita bread now, so I am dying to try making some oatmeal flatbread in the pan. So we're going to do that in a second. And also hummus is, you know, a little bit fattening. Yeah. It's kind of fattening because it's got the tahini in it. So what I'm going to do is take this little bit of hummus and take this can of chickpeas and mash these up and mix them with this hummus. So the chickpeas will have the nice hummus flavor, but the hummus won't be as fattening because the blend will now be a higher proportion chickpeas, if that makes sense, for my sandwiches in the week to come. All right, let's try the flatbread. All right, I'm just gonna pour some oats into my little NutriBullet thing. And we're gonna zip it up to turn this into oat flour, and then I'm just gonna blend in a little bit of water, and I'm thinking a little bit of salt, and I'm actually thinking of putting in a little garlic powder to give it flavor that I think will go nicely with what I have planned for veggie sandwiches for this week. Then we're going to fry it up in our Teflon pan. Alrighty, here's my concoction. We'll do a little experimental mini flatbread first to see if this is too thick or too thin and what it tastes like. I did put the salt and garlic in. Got my hot Teflon pan. So we're going to let that heat, and then we're going to flip her over in a minute. It's just cooking in a totally dry pan, no oil, but non-stick. Woo! I think it's not really cooked enough on the inside, so here's my plan, because I'm kind of impatient. These are taking too long. I'm going to start them in the pan so they kind of get browned and crispy on the outside, and then I'm going to finish them in the oven. Yeah, because it's still kind of... They're still a bit raw on the inside, but the salt and garlic is an excellent flavor, I have to say. Excellent flavor. All right, here we go again. Again with the thinner batter. I'm actually going to sprinkle a little extra sea salt on top. A little extra garlic powder right on top. have to cook them longer than you think you have to cook them. Chickpeas. So here's my hummus. I took that little container of Sabra hummus and I put it in the NutriBullet with a can of chickpeas. And I blended it up, and it needed some moisture to be able to blend. So I added lemon juice and some salt and some garlic. It's a salt and garlic kind of day. And this is outrageously delicious. It's unbelievable. So once I'm finished with all my little dumpster hummuses, this is how I'm going to make my bean dip. Just chickpeas, salt, garlic, and lemon juice. It's amazing. This is my first little tester flatbread that I finished baking in the oven, which has worked. It is not raw on the inside anymore. It's pretty crispy now, actually, but tasty. And extremely hot. So let me try this with some hummus. Hummus on my flatbread. Oh, it's so good. Yeah, this is going to be a good week ahead. Okay. And now for the wheat berry salad. No, I didn't forget it, and I didn't burn it. So, I'm going to pour this out in a strainer, and then pop the wheat berries into a bowl. I will show you them. Those are the wheat berries. Add in our dried cranberries. Add a little olive oil. And some balsamic vinegar. Toss it around and pop it in the fridge. Obviously, if you did not dehydrate your own cranberries and you bought commercially made raisins, they're going to be a whole lot sweeter and possibly a lot tastier in a dish like this. And now for a dessert. This recipe really calls for stewing your figs in water first so they soften and you can puree them, and then mixing that with raspberry jam. However, the raspberry jam I like to use went up in price, so I refused to buy it. And I have all these blackberries from dumpster diving. I have a huge bag of these in the freezer, so I decided I will stew the figs with some blackberries themselves, which will release all their crazy juices, and hopefully that will be the right proportion of moisture to figgishness for pureeing to make the filling for these delicious vegan cookie bars that we are going to make. So, we're going to put that on the stove on a low kind of a simmer, and I'll add more blackberries if it seems like this is not getting juicy enough. Alright, there are the blackberries and figs. I'm going to put this aside to cool off a bit, and then I'm going to blend it all up with the immersion blender. So now, we're going to mix our ingredients for the bottom crust layer and the top layer for these blackberry fig bars. Because I don't think I told you that's what we're making before, but we're making blackberry fig bars. And the oven is preheated to 350. First ingredient into the bowl, a cup of flour. You can put, that whole cup can go in. A cup of whole wheat flour. Thank you. And 2 cups of oats. Half a cup of dried sweetener. We're using baking Splenda. Brown sugar would be delightful. We also need a 1/4 teaspoon of salt and a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda and a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. You want to put that in? Get all the dry ingredients mixed together. Then we're going to cut in half a cup of coconut oil. The hippie at the health food store told me that that this makes your baked products taste really yummy. Let's just crumble it all together with our fingers. Alright, now we're going to put some of the mixture in the bottom of our greased pan. We sprayed that with olive oil spray, and this is the bottom crust of our bars. We have to save some for the top. So press that down. You keep pressing it nice and flat, and I'm going to puree the figs. Here are the figs and blackberries. Alright, that's the fig blackberry mixture now all pureed together, and that really is perfect. It's really thick. It's very hot though, so I am going to spread it on. And then we will have the most delicious fig bars ever. let's sprinkle this on top. But remember, that's kind of warm. Cover it all over. This is going in the oven at 350 for 20 minutes. Right, there we have the blackberry fig bars. Here you go, girls. What do you think, Autumn?
The best thing ever. Here, taste it, the world.
Taste it, the world.